All right, so we lost a little bit of our time there. All right, so that is our first announcement, the Virtual Parenting Conference. Let me say it again, Virtual Parenting Conference 2023. It's called Parent is a Verb. I will be leading a session called Raising Little Superheroes. And Miss Shamika, who is on the cast at MisterStuTV, she will be leading a session called How to Really Connect with Your Children in a day and age where it seems like Wi-Fi is the only connection that matters. Miss Shamika will be telling you how to really form connections with your children. And then we have special guests, Brian and Maggie Harlow, who are entrepreneurs and also the parents of Grammy-nominated artist Jack Harlow, and they will be talking about raising a kid with big dreams and the lessons that they learned while they were helping Jack get to be where he is today. Let's see, there's more coming up. Let's see what else there is. Yes, please make sure to like and follow Mister Stu TV on YouTube and YouTube Kids. You can check it out at youtube.com/@MisterStuTV. I know that that's strange, but that's how YouTube does their links. It's youtube.com/@MisterStuTV. That's MisterStuTV. Please make sure to like and subscribe to all of our videos. It has been going so well, and we are so excited to grow with you. On that channel, we make tough emotions child's play. So if you have a little one who sometimes struggles to understand and regulate their different emotions, then I think our channel will be a great resource for you and them, and I think that they'll enjoy watching us as well. So please check that out. Also, coming up on February 26th, we have another Facebook Live that is going to be Are Electronics Problems for Kids? Or Are Electronics Just Problems for Kids? February 26th at 5 p.m. Join me. I will be talking about all the questions that parents ask me every single day about how much screen time is too much screen time and all those other things. We'll be talking about it together. So please join me for Are Electronics Just Problems for Kids on February 26th. On March 12th, I'll be discussing mental health meds, what they can and cannot do. That will again be at 5 p.m. right back here on Facebook Live. And then on March 26th, I will be talking about autism spectrum disorder. As a therapist, I have found myself working with several children who have autism spectrum disorder. And so I have come to really form an understanding of that disorder just through necessity. And I've greatly enjoyed the lessons that I have learned from my clients who are on the autism spectrum. I just absolutely love working with them. And so I wanted to share that. Also, World Autism Awareness Day is on April 2nd. So we'll be celebrating that as you join me on March 26th in understanding autism spectrum disorder. But today we are talking about children's love languages. If you were here at the start, then maybe you heard me talking to Stark, and I was giving Stark some commands, and I let you know that one of the reasons that Stark is willing to listen to me and obey me is because Stark knows that I love him. I show love to Stark in ways that Stark understands. I give him treats, I give him pets, I tell him he's a good boy, I do all those things, and Stark understands that. But imagine if I had wrapped up a gift that was I was just thinking about a lot of things that Stark would enjoy. So if I wrapped up a stuffed animal, now Stark would enjoy a stuffed animal. But let's say I wrapped up an action figure. That's a much better one. If I wrapped up an action figure and I was just so excited to give this gift to Stark, and I was just thinking how much he was going to love it, and it's my favorite wrestler from the WWE, and I've got it all wrapped up, and I set the action figure down, and I say, Stark, I love you so much. He's just going to stare at that gift like, what in the world, Dad, what are you thinking? Like, what is this? Because Stark wouldn't understand that I was trying to show him love. Stark and I don't speak the same language. Children and adults do their best to bridge communication gaps, but children and adults don't speak the same natural language. And so, as an adult, you may be doing things that you feel like are just showing your children so much love. And at the end of the day, you just feel like, they just didn't get it. They just don't understand. And I am not here to say that your child will ever understand how much you love them, because they won't. There's no way to show that. But wouldn't it be great if the ways that you were showing your children love were received as much as possible? Today, that's what we're going to be talking about, is understanding your child's love language so that you can better show them the love that they need, and so that they can best understand the messages that you are trying to send them in that love. All right, so let's start talking about the first of 5 love languages. The first of the 5 love languages is physical touch. If you have a child that is constantly saying, cuddle me or chase me, we know that hugs are a great way for almost every kid to show love. But to these kids, to the children whose love language is physical touch, nothing says it better than a hug. Maybe you're trying to think, is this the kid that I have? Or are these some of the kids that I work with? If you have a child who is constantly in your space, who is constantly trying to invade your bubble, playing with your hair, then that is a signal that they need that physical affection. Now, as a professional, if you are a professional who works with children, these are also children that you need to help learn positive boundaries. I have several of these children who work with me, and definitely their love language is physical touch. So we talk about, hey, you need to come to the side to give Mr. Stu a hug, and we do the one-armed hug. They may try to sit in my lap, and I say, Mr. Stu's lap is not for sitting, but you can sit on the floor next to me, or you can sit in this chair. But these are also great ways to teach children about appropriate boundaries with others. So maybe this is your kid. It's the kid who's constantly saying, cuddle me, chase me, I need a hug, I need you to tuck me in, sit here with me, whatever it might be. If you have a child and they are your child, they are the child that you are taking care of in maybe your home, here's some ways that you can show these types of children love. You can snuggle on the couch with them. And spend some time just watching a movie, or watching a show, or watching MisterStuTV on YouTube. But you can cuddle with them on your couch, say. You can ask your child, again, this is not in professional relationships, but if they are your child, you can ask them if they'd like to sit on your lap to be able to eat their meal, or to play on their tablet. Offer them lots of high fives, give them hugs, give them dabs, all these types of things. When you go on a walk, ask them if they'd like to hold your hand. And it's not a forcing thing, but if you will ask your child if those are some things that they would enjoy, and in that moment, do they want to hold your hand while you all go on a walk? These can be great ways to show these children who need physical touch to understand that you love them. Here's some things to think about with children who use physical touch as a love language. We are going to do a Facebook Live in a few months about spanking, but definitely these children who have physical touch as their love language, it is extremely hurtful to spank a child like this, because they are receiving love through physical touch. So when there's a physical touch that violates that agreement, that respecting of boundaries, and that showing of I care for you and I love you in a way that is tangible. A hug says, I am here for you. A spanking, even if you're saying, I'm doing this because I love you, it cannot translate because, again, children don't speak the same language. So avoid that at all costs. And also understand, if you are a dad, it's important to show your children this type of love as well. Many times, dads are less physically affectionate than would be appropriate or than would be desired by most children. So, as much as you can with these types of children, show that physical touch in appropriate and loving ways. So, physical touch is the first love language. Let's look at what this next love language is. The next love language is gifts. Now, I know what you're thinking. You are thinking all children have the love language of gifts. But there is a difference between a child who just wants more things and a child who has a love language of gifts. Let me give you an example. My great-grandmother, my dad and I were just talking about this. My great-grandmother was one that if you gave her a gift, she would just go wild over the wrapping paper. And I can remember sitting next to her at Christmases where she would sit there and she would take forever to unwrap her gift because she didn't want to rip the paper. She would fold the paper and keep the wrapping paper, and she kept it. I am saying, so many people I think are cordial and are like, oh, this paper is so pretty, and they keep it and then go home and throw it away. No, my great-grandmother held on to that paper. She loved every moment of receiving a gift. My mom is the same way. My mom, I could wrap her this half-empty push pins and give it to her, and my mom would just come up with some reason why this is exactly what she needed. Those are the people whose love language is gifts. It's not just about stuff. It's about the fact that if you are giving them something, it's not about what the thing is. It's if you are giving them something, they love it. These are the ones who really, it comes down to, it's the thought that counts. Now, that's not to say don't give thoughtful gifts to these types of children, but it really does come down to, oh my gosh, I would be excited if you wrapped a pebble and handed it to me, because that means that you thought of me. That is this type of child. Think, is this the type of child that you have? Do you have the child that is always talking about how much they loved the gift, or are they ones who are talking more about receiving things rather than receiving specific things? If it's much more just about, I just like receiving whatever it is, then this child is one whose love language is gifts. If this is your child, it can be a tough one because it can feel like, oh, I'm buying their love. That's why it's important to think about what the gift might be, that it's not about spending an inordinate amount of money or even any money at all. It's about thinking what is going to be a meaningful gift to someone. I have a family member who sends me art that they created, and it means the world to me that they send me these things, and that they thought of me after they created whatever it is that they're sending me. They created that thing and thought of me enough to send it to me. Maybe for your child, you could fold them a paper airplane and leave it on their pillow. You could take them to Dollar Tree, or you could go to Dollar Tree and pick out something that you just think they are going to really enjoy. You could see a smooth stone even, and if you think of them and it reminds you of them somehow, you can give that to them. These are also children who are going to thrive on tangible rewards, stickers, star charts, things like that. In the corporate world, it's called gamification of different tasks, where if you do something, then you get a little badge or something like that. Well, children thrive on those things as well as, and definitely children whose love language is gifts thrive on those tangible rewards, those tokens of something that they achieved. Do be careful about overdoing gifts. You don't need to constantly be giving something. It's not about that. And it's also not about giving giant things. And it's also not about that being the only way you show love. That's important. That just because this might be the number one thing, doesn't mean that that's the only thing that this child needs. It might just be an immediate connection with them is to give them a gift. So be careful to not overdo the gifts, and also make sure that the gifts are appropriate for their age. You don't need to give a 7-year-old a brand new iPhone, etc. There's a bunch of examples. And also try to find things that might be helpful to them. If they come home and they say, I ran out of something at school, maybe you could buy them a new pack of pencils that are their favorite color or something like that. It can be helpful gifts and thoughtful things. It doesn't need to be giant things, and it doesn't need to be just some toy that they want. It can be all kinds of different things. So that is gifts. Let's talk about the next love language. This one is words of affirmation. Words of affirmation are the kids that just want to talk to you and be talked to. They love to listen, and they think about the words that they're saying. Those are these kids. If your child is just so excited when you give them praise, or when you tell them that you're just so proud of them, if you can see that their eyes light up when you are saying those things to them, it could be that your child's love language is words of affirmation. They might also be the ones that give words of affirmation the most. They might say things like, you are the best mommy, or you're the best daddy, or you're the best teacher, or you're the best therapist. They want to give a lot of compliments. They want to give a lot of praise out, because that's the way that they understand love, is by giving and receiving of those compliments. So some ways to express this type of love, some creative ways to express this type of love, is maybe to leave a note in your child's lunchbox. Or if your child has a cell phone, you can send them a text that just says, hey, I know you've got a tough test today. I'm rooting for you. You got this. I know that you're excited about your performance. You're going to do great. You might even make something like a beaded bracelet that has some words on it, or a word on it that means a lot between you and your child. And it can be something that they'll hold on to. That is some of the combining of the gifts that I was talking about in the gift giving portion. Is, yes, this child, their primary love language may be words of affirmation, but if you give them a gift of one of those words of affirmation, then that expands their understanding of how to give and receive love, because it's not just about the words anymore. Be very specific with your praise. There's different types of praise that you can give to children. There's praise for being, which is just, you are amazing because you're here. That's it. And then there's praise for doing, which is an accomplishment. Be specific in your praise, either in of being or of praise of doing something. Tell them what they did well or what you love about them. Not just, oh, you're a cool kid, but, oh, you are so cool because insert phrases here. You did such a great job at blank. Not just, oh, good work. But if you can be specific with that praise, it will mean so much. With these children, you need to be very careful with the ways that you go back and forth with them. If there's ever a time where it gets to an insult, that is going to cut really, really deep into these types of children whose love language is words of affirmation. As with all children, make sure that if you overstep some boundary, or if you say something that later you're just thinking, oh, I should not have said that, or in that moment, if you're thinking, oh, I should not have said that, take that moment, apologize to your child. That will help to mend that relationship, especially with these children who their love language is words of affirmation. Let's move on. Let's talk about the next love language, which is acts of service. These are the children who may be asking you to do a lot for them. This one might sound kind of strange because as a parent, you are probably thinking, I am constantly doing things for my children. But these children need it to be thoughtful. It's not just the routine things that you do throughout the day. And yes, I know that you are constantly doing things for your children because there is so much that they cannot yet do for themselves. But these are the children who really like thoughtful acts of service, thoughtful things. Maybe it could be something as far as rather than just having a having a piece of fruit out, the fruit is cut up into their snack. Rather than all my ideas are coming up as food related. Maybe you make their bed and you tuck the corners and you really just do the best job that you can making their bed. Different things like that. That's what's going to mean a lot to these children. These are the kids that might be asking you to tie their shoes, to fix something that they broke, to fluff their pillow, or to tuck them in. And I know we talked about that some with physical touch as well, but these kids, they just like things to be thoughtful gestures. As being one of these children's parents, you might start to feel like you are just a butler or a maid. But if you will reframe it, you can start to think of it as they're not asking me to do these tasks just because they want the task done. They're asking me to do these things as almost as a check-in on our love. It's not just, it's as in with the gifts. It's not about what is the gift. It's about the thought behind the gift. The same is true with these children. It's not so much about the task. It's the thought that's put into the task. You can do all kinds of things to express your love to these children. You can make a reservation at a restaurant that you know that they might enjoy, even if it's not required. You can do that and tell them you made the reservation. You can maybe help them do their hair in a special way. And you can help them to make a special snack, different things like that. The thing to avoid in these children is to just do whatever they're asking you to do immediately without thinking. If you do that, then you're going to create a child who is not resilient. So you don't want to just be constantly doing random things for your child that they can obviously do for themselves. But if there are things that they can't do on their own, definitely jump in and do those things. If there are things that they can do but they need help doing, you be the one to jump in and help. And then also, there are just some of those tasks that are just not fun to do. Maybe every once in a while, take care of one of those tasks for them, so that you'll help a child to become resilient, but also to be receiving love in the way that they best understand. So that is acts of service. Let's talk next about the one that means a lot to me, quality time. Quality time, these are the children that are asking you to come and watch, come look at this. Maybe they don't care too much to have a full-blown conversation with you. That would be more the words of affirmation children. Maybe they're not asking you to do anything for them. That would be the acts of service children. Or maybe they're not asking you for a hug or constantly asking for physical affection, but they are the ones that are asking you just to spend time with them. If they just want you to play with me, if they just say, play with me, and then it turns into you just kind of watching them play, that's perfectly okay. And those are the children who just love quality time. If that is your child or some of the children that you work with or some of the children that you're involved in their lives, you can just give them your undivided attention. Make sure that it is special time. If it is just time, quantity time, certainly quantity means something, but this needs to be some special quality time, especially if this is the way that your child understands love the best. Make sure that the phones are put away, the iPad is put away, maybe the TV is off, or if the TV is on, the child gets to pick what you're watching. Maybe they just want you to read them a story, or maybe they just want you to sit with them. But when that time is happening, make sure it is personal time to that child. It is special time to that child, and that child has undivided attention. Maybe you could take your child on a dinner date and hang out with them at a restaurant that they enjoy, even if it's Burger King or Wendy's or Taco Bell even. But it's that one-on-one special time, and you leave your phone in the car while you go in the restaurant with them and you are hanging out with them, just time with them. If this is your child, it's going to be important, again, as we understand discipline, that these children are going to really struggle if your punishment for them is for them to just go in their room with their door shut and not be allowed to come out or be around anybody. That is going to be like prison for that child. So do your best to avoid that. Also, don't think that, again, that these children get to just constantly demand your time. You can do things that you need to take care of and spend time with your child running errands, having great conversation with your child. So keep the phone put away and run some errands with your child. Just let them hang out with you. Maybe you have to fold the laundry, but you can let them sit on your bed while they tell you about their day at school. You don't have to give up everything that you have to do just because your child needs some one-on-one time. So that's quality time. Let's talk briefly just about this quote that I came across. It's by a man. His name is Harold Hubert. I did have to look him up. If you look him up, there's two names that'll pop up. One is a neuroscientist, and so I was like, oh, perfect. This neuroscientist said this about children, but it's not him. It's an actor from the 1800s or something. But I still like the quote, even though the person who said it, I'm not sure that they are going to go down as a supremely famous person. He said this: children need love, especially when they do not deserve it. And I think that that is a great start. So actually, I don't feel bad at all about mashing up Harold Hubert's quote, because I don't even know who Harold Hubert is. But here's how I would say it. Children deserve love even when you don't feel like it and they don't seem to care. Children deserve love even when you don't feel like it and they don't seem to care. Do your best to show your child love in the ways that they will understand it best. Whether that be through physical touch, whether that be through acts of service, whether that be through words of affirmation, whether that be through quality time, or whether that be through, oh, poop. What's the fifth one? Acts of service, words of affirmation. Let's just go through them again. Oh, man, physical touch. Gifts. That's the one that I forgot. That one is not my love language. So physical touch, gifts, words of affirmation, acts of service, and quality time. Whatever your child's love language is, do your best to show love to them in that way, even when you don't feel like it and they don't seem to care. Because they do. They do care. And they need it. The more love you will show to your child, the more resilient they will become, and the happier and healthier they can grow to be. Well, that is all that we have for today on our Facebook Live about children's love languages. Happy Valentine's Day. Since we're talking about love, happy Valentine's Day. It's coming up. If you are watching this live, it's coming up in 2 days. So spend some great time with your loved ones and do your best to figure out, is your child, let me see if I can name all 5 now. Is your child one who responds best to physical touch, to gifts, to words of affirmation, to quality time, or to acts of service? And if you can figure that out, then maybe they can receive your love in ways that they'll best understand. Do your best to show love, and your children will be happier and healthier for it. I will see you again in 2 weeks on February 26th for our Facebook Live about Are Electronics Just Problems for Kids? I'm looking forward to it. I will be right back here at 5 p.m. on Facebook Live, and I will see you there. Until next time, friends, spread the word and share the love. Make sure to check out MisterStuTV on YouTube. youtube.com/@MisterStuTV. Till next time, peace, much love. Adios. Bye-bye.